To Black Screen Finance, my name is Ralph.
My name is Nikis, and if you guys tuned into last week's episode where we discussed budgeting and money management, this episode is going to be a continuation.
For the last week, we've been getting a lot of emails in terms of asking us to get more in depth with what we were talking about last week. So if you don't know, we talked about budgeting and money management, but we kind of gave it a broad view. Just so that you kind of understand how important budgeting is. So what we're going to do this week is we're actually going to go into more depth so that you can understand exactly the Black Screen method way that we're talking about, right? So just kind of give you a little bit of a difference. You know, if you were to go to like a regular financial advisor, they would basically say things like, or one of the more popular methods would be the 50-30-20 rule.
JAR method,
Yep. And the 50-30-20 basically, is 50% of your necessities, the 30% the things that you want, and 20% of savings. The biggest difference that we try to recommend or that we implement in our way is the investing piece.
Yeah, and it kind of give you like a broad overview, but at the same time, we want to focus on the things that allow you to free up money so you can kind of invest in yourself from a long-term basis, and then also in a short-term basis, like investing in stocks, options, education. That's a big piece that we don't see a lot of individuals put their money in, because if you're just saving your money, in reality, you're not positioning yourself for long-term wealth generation. So that's why we think it's important where you allocate funds and kind of make sure that the expense piece is very detailed. You understand and keep yourself honest in where your money is going, and you allow it to free up money where you can now put that into investment and let your money work for you, as opposed to you working crazy hard for money. So
that's the biggest thing. And then I read a book. I can't exactly recall what the name of the book was, so I apologize for not shouting out the name. The biggest thing that I got from that book, and I'll definitely leave a comment in there at some later point, but basically the biggest thing that I got was that, don't always work for money, but make money work for you. Yeah. And that's where the investment piece comes in, and that's exactly what we're talking about.
All right, so in a video, you'll see us just pretty much just going over in detail, like how the Black Screen, budget Excel sheet works.
All right, guys, so we just want to give you a breakdown of exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the budget sheet. So we'll start right on the left side when it comes to the monthly income piece, right? So this is for a two-person home. So we have basically a breakdown of what each person makes. So for person number one, we have $3,000 per month. For person number two, we have $4,000 per month. So the total for that ends up being $7,000. Right now,
and then also you don't want to leave out them single dudes, and them single ladies too, man. So at the end of the day, they can still have the opportunity where they can still, eliminate that $4,000, and you guys can say just, I make $3,000 a month, and everything automatically populate for you guys. As you guys can see, it eliminates that second column, But we want to make it more consistent where we're showing the overall of like a two-family income. But the budget sheet works if you're a single family income, you're a single individual as well.
Absolutely. So don't feel like this is just for one set, but it definitely works both ways. And like you said too, right? So as we put that number back in, all the numbers change again. So instead of it being 100%, it breaks down to 43 and 57% there, right? So when we move over to the next column here, the savings piece is just really important. Now what happens is we generally recommend what, Nick, is like 10 to 20%?
10 to 20%, just based on how aggressive that person want to be. But we want to be a little bit more conservative, just for starters. And then, that person can kind of like scale depending on how aggressive they're trying to achieve their goals,
See, so in this example here, what we got 12% here. So that goes for both people. So we basically take 12% of $3,000 and 12% of $4,000. And that's when you get to the 353 number here and the 461 number there. And then we also break it down bi-weekly. So if you're a person that gets paid every 2 weeks, this is the amount of money that you want to have come out of your account and go into savings, right? So just so that when the time comes, we want to just eliminate the savings out of your actual income, because we want to make sure that this is the amount of money that we're not touching at all. So that's money just being, rainy day, it's going off to the side. We don't think about it. We don't see it. It's almost like taxes.
And then also, what we recommend also is that you make this automated. So you go to your HR personnel, or you go to your employees and say, hey, you already know the number, right? We make it very simple for you. Just go to say, hey, I want to set it up where this amount of money gets directly routed to my savings account to make it easy. So you don't have to see it, you don't have to touch it, and make it very difficult for you to access that money.
Absolutely. Now, when we move over to the next the next portion, we got earnings percentage. Now, this is important because we believe it's fair to make sure that we're basing how much we're spending on expenses and savings based on the amount of money that you make. Right, so person number one is at 40, I'll call it 43%. Person number two is at 57%. So it doesn't make sense if you're in a two-person household, again, to go ahead and split things 50-50 if one person is making more than 50%.
And trust me, like, you know, I'm a testimony to this where, you know, when you do it this way, it allows, you know, for finances, like always a touchy subject when you're in a relationship,
always.
Right? You know, so this allow you to keep it even, keep it balanced, where that individuals who making less, they can still save also, and they don't feel like they're the one, you know, putting in 50% and they can't save, and they're always on the water, and you have to always bail them out, you know. But this way allow everybody to feel equal and everything be balanced in the relationship. You know, give you a good vibe in the relationship too. So that's why we created this way, you know.
Yeah, and I 1000% agree, because and you want to feel like everyone's contributing, and this is the way to make it happen, and the way to make it happen in a fair way. So once you look at the actual number here, the new monthly income. Now what this is the $7,000 income total that you have, less the savings that we already took out there, that's already gone, that we're not thinking about. So that's where we get the $6,184 number from, is because of the new income that we now have. This is the money that we're working with in terms of what we're spending. Right now, monthly expenses. Now this is what we recommend, right? Because write down all your things that you spend money on the left hand side here before you even put down any numbers down here. The biggest reason why is the emotions piece.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the times as you start writing down numbers, you might start, you know, maybe writing something less or skipping things because you start to realize, oh wow, that's a lot of money. So instead of going that route first, just write down everything that you spend money on.
And you know what we've seen, you know, when we work with some of our clients, you know, a lot of the time you put the number next to it, and just because they see, oh my God, the number is getting so big, they start leaving stuff out. You know, so what I like to do, which is a strategy of mine, where we allow you to write everything out first. Once you write it out, there's no number next to it. You have no idea what that end number is going to be. But once you write it out, you have to put a number next to it now, and you can't modify the number, because we're going to have the statements, and we're going to have, like, you know, your pretty much your overall receipts or whatever the case is that you spend on a monthly basis. So we have to tally that up, and then you get that surprise at the end as to how much you're spending.
That's how you hold yourself accountable, right? So that you don't skip any steps. So just to kind of give you examples of the things that we're talking about. So we have the house mortgage if you own a home, or / rent if you don't. Car insurance, we have a car payments, student loans, food, oil, utilities, gym. You get the gist. There's a lot of things here. At the very bottom, what's the space for, Nikas?
Yeah, so we kind of create that space because we know a lot of individuals, man, they have a lot more expensive. And I think, funny enough, we might even make that space a lot longer, man.
we may have to. So I mean, you would know as you go ahead and fill out the sheet yourself, or at least the left side, and then at that point, that space, we know we made that space there for you. So that's that special thing for you. Now, when everything is written out on the left hand side and everything is done, now you can start holding yourself accountable by putting in the numbers on the right side. So putting in your mortgage, your rent, your car insurance, you know, everything that's in here. I don't have to go through everything. You guys can kind of see it right there. The really important pieces, though, is this right hand side here. Right now, what that right hand side does is it gives you an opportunity to see some of the things that you could reduce, or some of the ways you could reduce expenses. Mm-hmm. Now, Nikas, what are some of the things over here that you see specifically that we could cut down?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've personally done, you know, if you own a home where mortgage is concerned, depending on how much you're spending on a monthly basis, you can always explore what it is to do like a refinancing, right? Also, like, you know, for car insurance, like, you know, I recently I changed job, so now I'm not commuting as long. And, you know, called up my insurance company and told them, like, hey, I moved to a different job. I'm not commuting as long as before. So now, you know, what can you guys do for me? And surprisingly, I didn't even know that, you know, if you're not commuting long distance, they cut your rate, you know, because it's less likely that you're going to be in an accident. So when you call around, you ask questions, and I was able to reduce it by $50 off of my insurance. So, you know, little stuff adds up, and think about that every month that you're saving an extra $50 that you can allocate that somewhere else, you know, or even put that into some investment. So, you know, eat out, you know. Sometimes you're impulse buying, you're at work, you know, you're eating out every day, you know, all those little $20, $30 or $15, you know, that you buy for lunch, you know, coffee, all that, you know, when you add that up, at the end of the month, You'd be surprised. Yeah, you'd be surprised how much money you're spending. So these are all of the tactics, that we collaborate with our clients. But for you guys know ways that you can. If you don't reach out, we will be more than happy to kind of explain. But these are like an area where you can each expense that you have, you can kind of create a strategy or a game plan how you will be able to reduce those expenses.
Yeah, and that's crucial. You have to find ways to go ahead and eliminate some of the, or even reduce some of the expenses that you have, just to make sure that you have a lot more money here at the very end. Right now, what's over here on the right hand side is basically the shared expense portion of the sheet. Now what this shows is, again, person number one, this is the amount of money that they will go ahead and deposit at the end of the month in order to pay their bill or their portion. So because they make 43% of the total household income, that 43% translate over to $1,714. For person number two, because they make 57, that number is going to be bigger because they make more, obviously. So that number is going to translate to $2,285. Now, to make it easy for you, like Nikas was saying before, in terms of the automation piece, now what you want to do when you get paid, you'd go ahead and deposit $857 right into the account in which all your expenses come out of. And then the second person goes ahead and does the same thing. So they'll deposit $1,142 into the account for that same exact reason.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier in the video, when you do this, it makes it so easy where you can close your eyes, you can put the money in, you don't have to worry because you know that all your expenses will be taken care of. And one of the cool things that I usually do is always best for you to make your expenses higher. If you make your expenses higher on the sheet of paper, so say for instance your mortgage is $1,100, right? When you put it on the budget sheet, it's fine if you give yourself that $100 cushion, because now when you put that money into that house account, what you find as you take out your monthly expense, your house account is still growing.
That's huge.
So that's kind of something that I like to do. So you can kind of round up some of the numbers, but never make your expenses less. It's okay to make it even like a couple $1 more, because the higher expenses is, even though it's not as high, it allows you to grow that account as well, and that's pretty cool sometimes.
I agree, and I literally do the same thing too, because it's always good to actually end up having more than end up having less or being really close to it. So I'm 100% agree on that aspect as well.
And then for the bottom piece, we created the income and the expense portion. You see right here where it's $2,184.70. The goal is try to find ways you can make that number higher. And then our recommendation is to start putting a plan in place for your financial freedom. And that's whether you're investing in your education or you're investing in the stocks and options, like what we're a big proponent of, So the higher that number is, what I do is I automatically set up where some of that funds will go into like a long-term investment account, and then I have some that goes into my short-term investment account where I do like stocks, swing trades, and I'll do like options and stuff like that, and then I'll put it in that account where I do long-term investment, where I don't touch, or I'll occasionally go in based on how the market is performing, and I'll kind of tweak that a little bit. But that's kind of like how we structure it. You can use that account also for investment if you want to get your real estate properties and stuff like that. So that's what you use that money for, to get that financial freedom. So the higher that number is, the more you can kind of be more aggressive towards your long-term financial freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also gives you the opportunity, if you are the type of person that also likes to give back, to do things like charity. I know that's one of the biggest things that we're proponent of here as well, in terms of making sure that other people are benefiting as well, or giving back. So just building that up as much as you can right here is really the goal, because just like Nika said, it gives you the opportunity to build for the future, build for yourself, and then give back to others as well.
Yeah, and our team, we kind of put some stuff up, as we're going through the video, but for our team, we definitely invest a lot in charity, and we definitely try to invest back in our community, and that's kind of the reason why we created this platform in the first place. Is just to, no one has that excuse that I didn't know or I don't know. You guys have that resource where you could definitely get that information if you guys need it. Tuning into this week's episode. If you guys like the content that we're providing and want to help build our community so we can continue to spread financial education,
like, share, and smash the subscribe button. It will do us a great favor. Thank you again. We appreciate you guys. Bye.
And don't ever tell them to subscribe again. You hear me? Now have a wonderful day, guys.